Hello, everyone. My name is Julie Payette. I am the Governor General of Canada. Today is December 3rd, 2020. We are, again, in a raging pandemic, so be very careful. Thank you for those of you who are listening to us on Facebook or on YouTube. If you would like to listen to us, we will have a French session in an hour from now. But today, I have a very, very special Gigi conversation, very much in line with the festive occasion of the holidays. But before I introduce my special guest, let us first listen to a very special piece of music that was played in space in 2009.
And good morning, Endeavor. Julie, that was some peaceful music for you to begin a busy day.
So, what you've just heard is what we call the crew wake up call. Whenever there is a shuttle crew, whenever there was a shuttle crew in space, Mission Control Center would play a piece of music in the morning to wake up the crew. And it was chosen either by the family or for some a particular liking of the crew member. It was dedicated to a particular crew member. And in July 2009, while I was on board the space station with the shuttle Endeavour, on flight day 12, they played the absolutely beautiful aria for two soprano Di Torrente in Via from the Dixit Dominus of Handel. And I can assure you that hearing this ethereal music while in space is extraordinary, even if it is the music to wake you up. I had sung the Dixit Dominus prior to that with Tafel Music Baroque Orchestra in Toronto. And the reason I'm presenting this music is because when I arrived in Ottawa to take on the function of Governor General, I was looking for a choir. It seems like many people like me who have been singing in choirs all their lives, whenever they move, they look for another ensemble, vocal ensemble to sing with. So I went to Google and I typed Dixit Dominus Ottawa. And the name that came out was Lisette Canton and the Ottawa Back Choir. And that's how I met my first guest, which I will introduce right now. Lisette Canton is the founder and artistic director of the 2020 Juno Award-winning Album of the Year for choral music, internationally acclaimed director of the Ottawa Bach Choir. She's an associate professor and head of choral conducting at York University in Toronto. She was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and she clearly was born in a city vibrant with music and harmony. But she brought this to us here in Canada, and we're very fortunate. She has conducted many ensembles, recorded with the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, and several other things. She's going to talk to us about how she ended up there. Welcome, Lisette.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you.
And she's accompanied with another person, which I ended up meeting through my connection to the Ottawa Bach Choir. And actually, my first concert was with the Schola Cantorum that he directs. We are so privileged to have internationally world-renowned countertenor Daniel Taylor with us. Hello, Daniel.
Morning. Thank you very much. Good afternoon.
So, good afternoon. Daniel is not only very well known, he's one of the most prolific recording artists. He is a professor of early music, voice, and opera at the University of Toronto. He is also the head of historical performance in the Faculty of Music. He was very gracious to accompany me with his wife, Ellen, at our delegation state visit to Africa in 2018 and performing beautiful work for everybody to understand the talent right here in Canada. And Daniel is also a conductor. He will also tell us all about it. But really, he is well known because he is a magnificent countertenor. And for those of you who might not be familiar with what the voice of a countertenor sounds like, let me present to you an excerpt of the Juno Award-winning album of the Ottawa Bach Choir, Dixit Dominus from Handel, with Daniel Taylor performing the Virgam Virtuti second movement. An excerpt. Daniel, tell us a little bit about how you became a countertenor.
I started singing at the Church of St. Matthew's Gentlemen and Boys Choir in Ottawa. My parents needed me to do something after school a few nights a week. I joined the Scouts, I think, for about a week, ended up then going with the church choir instead. And I was very fortunate. I met Richard Dacey, a conductor who was from England, also Jonathan Rennert, who was from England, Brian Law. Very impressive and impactful time for me. And also we had singers in our choir like Gerald Finley, who's now, of course, one of the great bass baritones in the world, and usually wins the Juno that I'm nominated for.
But it's interesting, Daniel, because we know each other very much because I'm so very privileged that these extraordinary musicians let me sing and perform music with them a little bit. But Daniel, we hear you. You have a normal voice of in the tessiture of tenor baritone, but then you sing in the tessiture of alto. How does one get from there to there?
Well, I always have thought that my countertenor voice was really an extension, first of all, of the treble voice I had. And also then it seemed to me when my voice broke, because I'm an okay baritone, sort of a bargain baritone. But the fact is that I was able to, I felt like it was connecting more, the countertenor voice and that color and range was connecting more to what I wanted to say. It enabled me somehow to become a storyteller and to become really a vessel of the music. And so, I mean, it's a technique, but it isn't nearly as smoke and mirrors as a lot of people would have us think.
Oh, it's very impressive. And I think we are very, very impressed, but also a little envious of being able to have this level and control. So you, Lisette, were born in New Orleans, I mentioned at the very beginning. How did you gravitate to Baroque and early music and then ended up with us here in Canada?
Well, I've lived in Canada most of my life, so New Orleans is quite a wonderful place to be from. And I think I came out of the womb singing. I have lots of music in my family. My grandfather was the best jazz trumpeter in New Orleans at the time, and my great uncle played piano with Pete Fountain, the jazz clarinetist. So it comes very naturally to me, and I came to Canada with my family, and I am a citizen, and I I have just, yeah, for me too, music is part of my soul. I started on piano. Singing always has been all the way through my training, and played French horn in high school. And then I found conducting, and it was just an absolute natural fit for me. And I never turned back. McGill was where I went for my first degree, and so yeah, that's the rest is history, as they say. And then ended up in Ottawa and founded the Ottawa Bach Choir 19 years ago, and it's just been a joy through all of the growing and development that we have gone through as an ensemble.
And we can see that firsthand because in a world premiere, as a teaser, I'd like to present to our viewers an excerpt of the upcoming virtual concert that we've just recorded with the Ottawa Bach Choir that will be aired on December 5th. Where you see how much of an innovator, a conductor that is completely doing whatever is right under the circumstances to continue to provide extraordinary music. Let's see an excerpt of the Ottawa Bach Choir singing Cantate Domino from Heinrich Schütz. Thank you so much. We have an extraordinary technician at Rideau Hall right now, putting the excerpts in place. We've just seen the Ottawa Bach Choir and the magnificent St. Paul Chapel in Ottawa, all distanced, all wearing masks in a very ventilated place, following the public health directives, but providing a first Christmas virtual concert. And you saw Lisette right there in front, a very innovative. I have a question for you, Lisette, from someone listening to us. It's Devin Pope on Facebook. He would like to know, Dr. Canton, how do you describe the feeling of starting an ensemble and taking it to the level that it has and eventually winning a Juno Award?
Well, that's a
thank you, Devin.
multi-level question there. It's an immense amount of work, as I'm sure anyone knows. But for me, it's my love and my passion and my joy. And so it doesn't all feel like work, but it's an immense amount of work to continually bring people together, to choose the music that they perform, and to insist on a level of musical excellence that I know everyone can achieve. And that's not always easy. You have to go gently, as I'm sure Dan knows with this as well. But you have to say, look, I know we can get there. I know we can do better and better and better. And people respond. And that's what led us to Dixie Dominus in 2019, as we performed that and recorded that. So
it's like you're not only the driver of a locomotive, but you are the locomotive that is bringing all this of a very, very complex and diverse train. Daniel, you're also a conductor, and we'll hear some of the work that you've done as a conductor, but we've just recorded, as I mentioned, a virtual concert that will be aired on Saturday, December the 5th, But I've heard that you've recorded something special as well. You're currently sitting at Massey College. You're a senior fellow of Massey College at the University of Toronto.
Yes.
Would you like to present us with this excerpt?
When I was invited to join you for this conversation, I was looking through various videos I've taken part of before, but I wanted to try and make something for today. I mean, I made it very quickly because of the timeline involved. I used a colleague of mine, Marco Libretti, who is a filmmaker. So we came into this round room of Massey College and down to their chapel. I think that at a time of a year like this, I wanted to offer a Christmas carol. This is a piece called Down in Yon Forest. It's not very well known. People may recognize it from services that they've attended at one point. But I have to say that, if I may, that my mother's a nurse, my father's a doctor. I think of the people who are now suffering through this pandemic. I think of people who are on the front lines of this. So there are, if there was a dedication, I first would like to make that dedication to those people who are helping us through this, taking care especially of those who are elderly and differently abled. And also, I've had the opportunity to spend time with you on your missions and to see how hard you work and care for the people of this country. And so I want to thank you very much. So this is a little tiny carol, Down in Yon Forest. Down in yon forest there stands a hole. The bells of paradise I heard them ring. It's covered all over with purple and gold, and I love my Lord Jesus above anything. In that hole there stands a bed. The bells of paradise I heard them ring. It's covered all over with scarlet so red, and I love my Lord Jesus above anything. Under the bed there runs a flood. The bells of paradise I heard them ring. The one half runs water, the other runs blood. And I love my Lord Jesus above anything. Down in yon forest there stands a hole. The bells of paradise I heard them ring. It's covered all over with purple and gold, and I love my Lord Jesus above anything.
Thank you, Daniel Taylor, for this beautiful a cappella song in the resonating. That was like a virtual tour of Massey College that showed how beautiful the college is. It is open, and there are, when eventually will be activities there. Thank you very much. That was wonderful. You mentioned that you wanted to pay tribute to the people on the front line, the people that have been working now for more than 9 months, fighting the virus, helping people, being there no matter how difficult it might be. Their courage, their steadfastness have been absolutely extraordinary. And Lisette, you've decided to do something also with the Ottawa Bach Choir to thank the people on the front line. And if I remember, maybe you want to tell the story, it was a doctor who was telling us that they were accompanying people, particularly during the first wave when we were in lockdown, accompanying people at the end of life. And these people did not have their loved ones around them. And they felt that this was a very difficult task. And what did you decide to do?
Well, when everything went silent, we decided, okay, we have to create music in a new way. And so we started doing the virtual videos. And of course, Bach is at the center. He's the alpha and omega, as I frequently say. And we chose the Dona Nobis Pacem from the Mass in B minor, Grant Us Peace. And we thought that that would be a wonderful way to pay tribute and to thank all of our frontline workers, and just to provide comfort for everyone suffering and needing some music in their lives. And so we started making these virtual videos, and the Dona Nobis Pacem, I think, is what you graciously sent across the country to all of the frontline workers. And we had so many that were simply exhausted, didn't think they had any more space in their lives for anything else. And then they listened to our Dona Nobis Pacem, and it brought them great joy and comfort and peace, and it helped them to keep going. And so I think that's what we try to do with our music.
That's what musicians have been doing since the early times. But we sent out the audio file so that they could download it on their telephone and play it at any time they wanted. We'll show you, however, right now, the mosaic virtual video that we made of the Dona Nobis Pacem during the first wave of the pandemic. Here it comes. We're back together. This is going so fast. Daniel, people are listening to us on the internet because I have a question from Anne Arksey, from Midhurst, Ontario. She's asking, music not only lifts the soul, but also lifts us physically. Unless people are singing on video right now with the pandemic, not much is happening. Do you have any suggestions for those of us who love to share the joys of singing so that others may feel comfortable to sing as well? Encourage people to go out there and sing.
I do. I mean, I think that there are some virtual projects which are being done right now. And I think that's one way that people can start to find that connection. I've also, even though of course it's even more challenging in Canada right now, to step outside, but I think we are the messengers, you know? This music is a message for people, and it's about community. It's about bringing support and love to one another and comfort. And whether or not we listen to music as we just were by Bach, you know, Bach refers to music as being recreation for the soul. So I think that for people who can't actually exit their houses, then I mean, of course, I'm a great believer in this. Bring that music to you through the platforms we have. And if you're able to go and share it, whether you're standing honestly outside someone's door, you know, in a safe place, I just think that it is what carries us through. And we can, I feel like, I just think we have to go and share with one another as best we can and know.
And there's no reason why we can't sing even outside, or there are virtual sing along. And Lisette, the concert that you're presenting virtually in a couple of days, I have another excerpt of this from called it's a beautiful carol, because this is a festive season despite the circumstances. The Sailor's Carol. It was composed by a famous Ottawa organist and musician, Matthew Larkin, who also is on this December 5. What would be your suggestion to encourage people to sing? Because it does lift the soul.
Well, I agree with both of you. I think whatever we can do to get out there to continue to communicate, whether it's over Zoom, it's difficult over Zoom, but there are ways to do it safely. And many of us across the country, especially in the professional choirs, are getting together safely, socially distanced with masks, with portable ventilation units, and we are making it work. And it's important to continue the message, to continue to refresh the soul, and to communicate with each other. That is what music and the arts do, and it's so important for all of us.
And to me, choral ensemble is almost one of the ultimate form of teamwork. Let's hear the Sailor's Carol from Matthew Larkin. This was the Ottawa Bach Choir, a recording by conductor Lisette Canton. The harpist, Caroline Leonardelli, is again with us in the December 5 concert, but more importantly, she was also playing often at Rideau Hall. I hope that when we resume our activity, all of you will come back and sing within those venerable walls.
Absolutely.
Lisette Canton, Daniel Taylor, I am sorry to say that we already are at the end of our GG conversation. I think we should have scheduled this for a longer period because of the excerpts and the beautiful music we wanted to share with other people. Maybe I can ask you peut-être un dernier souhait, a last wish for the people listening to us for the holiday season, a difficult time.
I think music brings us closer together. Music keeps us connected. It gives us hope, and it gives us joy and allows us to express the beauty of this world. And I hope that we can remember this and connect with each other through this holiday season.
Daniel?
Yes, I think that if we can unblock middle seats for 5-hour flights, we could probably put a few seats available in concert halls. I think we really need to have support for our artists as well during this time. I
wanted to broach the incredible impact that this pandemic has on the performing arts, on the artists, on the performers, on the industry in general. We'll have to invite you back. I hope you will come again and discuss with us and the new way that we will operate in the future. But for now, I have to say goodbye. Thank you very much, not only for accepting to have this conversation, but for the gift and the power of music that you give to us. Thank you very much for what you do and what you continue to do. For those of us listening, oh, by the way, Lisette, there's more questions out there, so I will have to forward that to you. We had David Rain asking question about the Pange Lingua and singing Renaissance in mid-sized choir versus small choirs. So as I mentioned, you will have to come back.
Okay, I will.
Thank you. For next week, we have a very, very special guest all the way from Newfoundland. Her Honor, Judy Foote, Lieutenant Governor of Newfoundland, is going to talk to us about what's happening out in Newfoundland, but also about some very special exchange that we've been doing. So please tune in next week for the GG conversation. And I leave you asking you to be vigilant, to stay healthy, and to stay safe. We're not yet out of the pandemic. So I leave you with the Ottawa Bach Choir singing the 8th movement of the Dixit Dominus for you. Gloria Patri in Filio.